Okay, we're back. I just had to restart it because I was thinking to myself, you know what, like there's still things I want to talk about in the Dark Age that we need to. So of course you've got your Uvu. You want to get that bad boy down as soon as you can. And then we'll throw down our fortified outpost again. I guess realistically, you could probably do it at the front of your base. It probably makes a bit more sense because it is an outpost. You can throw these bad boys down. And I haven't actually tested with regard to the sphere. I don't know if that's the right word, but the way influence works. Whether or not it has to be 100% in. Like, we've got one tile right here, and that's going to allow us to have the influence, I suspect. You can see it's in there, so you can kind of treat it the same way. You could throw them all out on the edge right there, but even then you can see. But yeah, so you can mix and match, as we were doing before. We had the Raxes. And you can grab emplacements in here. We've got the research that's available for us. What else is there to talk about in the Dark Age? Realistically, not a whole lot. We obviously aren't putting our stables near our Uvus. We don't care that much about it. So I think at the very least, you're going to want to centralize your production, at least initially, around fortified outposts, just because you're going to be able to pick up that extra bonus production speed. And at the end of the day, production speed is always going to be a welcome addition. So if we go ahead and... you can see the villas right here. Let's turn off in a jiffy. So our villages cost 100 food, and they take 37 seconds to build. So they're building 2 at a time. They're building slightly faster than what a normal villager would build, 3 seconds. So at the beginning of the game, it's going to work out worse for you, but over the course of the game, it will work out better for you because that 3 seconds really starts to add up, right? If you think about it, okay, after the first 40 seconds, your opponent has had 2 villages. You've got 2 villages, but you had that first one 20 seconds slower, but you had the second one was 17 seconds slower, but the second one was 3 seconds faster. But then on the next set of vills, that second villager is 6 seconds faster, and the previous one was only 14 seconds slower. So eventually it will come around. It's going to take some time, but yeah, it's definitely, I think it's a good thing, right? This is one of the things that we found in Age of Empires 3 for the Russians, is that very quickly you were like, okay, this is a good thing. This is not a bad thing. It does kind of limit you though, with regard to like just your options and spending resources. Like you're going to have to fork out 100 food. You don't have that option to just put in 50. All right, let's get our age up in. We'll go with the golden tent because we've got no option. That's the only way that we can age up. We'll turn on in a jiffy. Jiffy. There we go. Okay, so we can reduce the stone cost of the Khan and Tall Guards by 20% and increase their health by 30. Or we can go for the building carts. I think we'll just go for the building carts here. I don't know which one of these is probably going to be standard. I suspect there's probably going to be differing mines. So once you age up, they immediately drop down. And if we turn off in a jiffy, we can take a look at the speed that they are doing this. So maybe you want to play defensive. I think that's actually a pretty good option with this civilization to play defensive. So we could put down an archery range. We'll put it down over here in influence. We'll put down 2 archery ranges. So we're coming out of the gate swinging. Maybe we've got a gur as well. Let's just build our gur. We probably wanted it on the wood line. That's all right. We'll allow it. And you can see just how quick these are coming up. These are pretty damn speedy. So I don't know, 10, 15 seconds, somewhere in that region, it's coming up. So definitely respectable. Probably the equivalent of being built by about 4 vills. We'll start training our archers. Now keep in mind, these are batch archers that we're building here. These are not single archers. These are batch built archers. And then we're on the wood line, so maybe we got double broad axe and maybe we got wheelbarrow, so I think that's good. Let's talk about the Torkut and specifically Badu Khan. So he's going to take 19 seconds to come out. Now, there's a reason why I think you might actually want to do archers with this civilization. Let's turn in a jiffy on, and we'll go for a quick look right now for some deer. So we're just going to use deer to emulate this. We'll grab our Khan as well. And I think we'll try and move forward. Hopefully we find the deer in this direction. So at the moment, our early game, or our stats here, aren't particularly hot, right, for our archers. These are just base level archers, 70 health, 5 damage, nothing too crazy here. We'll get our +1s in, so we're all good. Do we really not find any deer towards the front? That is disappointing. Disappointing. Oh, this will work, actually. Never mind, this will work. So what's going to happen here is our Batu Khan is going to hit... Oh, it doesn't actually work. We still need more. Our Batu Khan has got a buff that he applies to the units. Oh, there we go. You just saw it. So he needs to activate that buff, he needs to hit something. So it is his war cry, basically. And as you can see, that buff has now fallen off just because it was very, very quick that he did this. But these sheep right here, these are actually perfect for it. You can activate the buff with the sheep, with the deer, with the boar. You can do that. I don't know whether or not attacking... if attacking walls or buildings would activate the buff, but just to show you once again. So you'll get quite a bit of a damage buff here. So basically the point that I'm trying to make is that you actually get a very decent amount of damage that's coming through for these archers. +2 damage, which is massive when you think about it. Do we not get +1 on this? Hold on. Why is that only giving us 7 damage? Why is it only giving us 1? I was getting +3. I swear I was getting +3 before, and you can see it does say that it gives 2 damage. But anyway, that was my theory. I was like, okay, you can probably get some pretty good damage on these archers early on. Badu Khan is going to be tanking up. So Golden Khan aura increases damage +2, but it's only giving 1. Anyway, it's all right. I'm sure they'll sort it out eventually. So from here, we could look to debuff the enemy so that they're going to be taking more damage as well. We'd have the Tour Guards that are going to be out. Keep in mind, these are batch trained. They take a really long time to train. So you're looking at 50 seconds for 2 of them, so 25 seconds on each of these guys. When it comes to their base stats, the 240 health. A lot of health on them. Decent armor as well. 3-3 with +1s is very nice. Now, of course, if you've got the Karash nearby, if we can throw down a barracks here and get a Karash out here. That's a spearman. Let's get the Karash out instead. So that is going to be buffing up nearby units. So here we've got +1 armor. So now you're talking 5 armor on a feudal age unit. That is incredible. That is absolutely crazy. That is a huge amount of armor that is coming through. And then on top of that, keep in mind that Batu Khan, who doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but he's going to have all of that damage redirected. He's got Torgood protection on. And so it means that if you have a whole bunch of spears, or you're fighting a whole bunch of spears, what's going to happen is all of that damage is going to be redirected. And you can tell which unit it's going to be redirected to by this little thing on the top. So what happens is when we delete this unit, it immediately redirects. You can see there's about a split second where it goes above the head of the Badu Khan, and then it redirects straight away. So it changes it to a crown for a very, very small second. And then it changes out to a unit. So I don't know what happens in that split second. I don't know what happens with regard to overkill as well. Like, as an example, if you've got like 50 crossbows and you all shoot this single Torgood, is the damage then for this Torgood gonna, like, is this unit gonna die and then the damage goes through to Badu Khan, or does it go through to the next unit, or does it just go nowhere? I don't know the answer to that question. So that's something that we're gonna have to work out. But yeah, it's a very cool combo. I like the idea of like having these super fast archers. If we were to get a whole bunch of our archers out right here, and why can we not? Oh, it's Castle Age, and it's required. If it's required in Castle Age, then it probably doesn't work as well. Yeah, that's fine then. Glorious Charges Castle Age. So where were we? We were talking about the Feudal Age and the other options that you've got. So with regard to the power spike, I feel like it probably comes through at Castle Age. So let's go ahead and let's jump into our Golden Tent. And when it comes to the Castle Age, I think going for Relic Oovers is probably going to be like the sort of longer term thing. I suspect you'll probably, like, when it comes to the combos that you're going to see, oh, excuse me, just a little bit of a involuntary spasm right there. I suspect you're probably going to see, like, the Khan and the Tour Guards will go together with Relic Oovers, because you want to have more stone so you can build more Tour Guards, right? That makes sense. And here you've got cheaper Tour Guards, and obviously you want as many of them as you can. Whereas I think, like, it's kind of optional though, I guess, with in that regard. Like, you could definitely go into Muscovy Yasak as well to get that extra little bit. So let's go ahead. Let's grab Muscovy Yasak. For now, we've got ourselves another building cart because we took that initial building carts, and we can now put that into a prayer tent. And then we don't even have to think about dropping down the shaman hut. Excuse me, the prayer tent. We don't have. Is it not going to work? What? It's interesting that we can't select it. Okay, there we go. So yeah, then we don't have to worry about putting down a prayer tent. You can see how quickly it comes up as well, and immediately we can send out our shamans here. So where are we going from here? There was something specific I wanted to talk about. I can't remember exactly what it was. Anyway, let's continue moving forward here as we take a look at the rest of the units. Oh yeah, that's right. Now I remember. So specifically, I wanted to talk about the barracks reinforcement, or just the reinforcements in general, and about why they're so powerful. So normally, we're paying, if we take a look with In a Jiffy off, we are paying 200 food, 40 gold, and waiting 38 seconds for our men-at-arms to come out. That's a bit of a wait. But what we can do with the barracks reinforcements is we can put In a Jiffy back on. Now, keep in mind, which edict are we running? Let's just double check. Yeah, we're running our production edict. We're also going to pick up this blacksmith bonus here. So now we've got super duper fast producing units. And on top of that, so instead of it waiting all that time, we're only waiting 25 seconds now. And the great thing about this is when it pops out, we get a free unit right there. Boom. Now, if you did want to go for that extra 20% production speed, because you've already got the 50% from the blacksmith, then you could look to switch it up. You can go into the Karash edict instead. I would suspect that this is probably an edict that's better with spam units or cheaper units, right? Like, if you're spamming, like, if we were to say, like, your most expensive units, hand cannoneers. We're not going to be spamming hand cannoneers right now. We're in age 3, and we're not going to go to age 4 just yet. Let's go with Keshiks. So we're going to make 2 Keshiks, and if we've got this edict active, which we should, hold on. Why is that not working? Did we get a Karash and we just didn't see it? Should this not produce a Karash? Oh, there's the Karash. Okay, yeah, we must have got a Karash, we just didn't see it. So this Karash right here, we had to pay a lot of money just to get this Karash. So it would make more sense for us to go with like a cheaper unit, like Hardened Spearmen, and then that way we're going to get the Spearmen and the Karash as well, and we're going to pay less for it. So that's one argument for, like, yes, maybe this would be very good with trash. So if you're poor, or if you don't have access to gold, then maybe that edict could be quite strong. But other than that, I mean, when you're on the defense, it seems mandatory. You're probably going to be doing this. We can see that the edict has to fly out, and then you're going to be getting the buff. So we've got the extra 10% health. The other thing to note is that you can't pick another edict while the other one is on cooldown. So you can't mix and match and switch between them and try and min-max that way. But yeah, I think definitely while you're on the defense, that's going to be it. And then, I guess, hold on. Activate to increase the production speed of your golden tent military buildings within the influence of a fortified outpost by 50%. Oh, it goes up each age. Another thing I didn't realize, it goes up each age. So it was 20, so now it's 50, so it's probably 35 in the middle. And then, so we've got the Stoneyard Edict, so we've unlocked that now. We have already talked about how it works. We'll take a quick look here at the Rus tributes. So dispatches for Rus tributes, these are the castle age variants. So you can see they are incredibly tanky here. 6 armor, quite a bit of decent attack, and they're expensive to get, 445 stone. So you would not want to call them unless you were in an emergency, and it just went down there. So you can see it's actually going down every 30 seconds here. And the way that it works is it goes down by how many military buildings you've got. Now, a siege workshop apparently doesn't count as a military building. So let's go ahead and let's just put a whole bunch of military buildings down, so a whole bunch of Raxes, and then that amount will come down even more. So we've got lumber shipments here. Time until the next lumber shipment is in, so we've got 180 food or wood that's coming in. So here we're about to do it. How much was it? Oh, we should have been looking over here. So we're at 335. So we can do that. That'll push it up to 685. I don't know why did it go up to 685? Because it says that it increases the cost of the call Ross tributes by 300 stone. Anyway, so up to a maximum of 70 stone will be reduced. And the other thing to note is that it will automatically deploy the Rust tributes when the cost reaches 0. So with this civilization, very much it is about having a lot of military buildings. So we would need to have at least 14 to take full advantage of this. It might not seem like a big deal, but you got to remember it's progressive and it's over time. So if every 30 seconds it's gaining you 5 stone, then just by building it, you're having 5 stone every 30 seconds, so 10 stone a minute. So just by building these Raxes, this is 10 stone a minute, 10 stone a minute, 10 stone a minute, because you're essentially spawning units this way. So here we're about to go from, we're at 615, so this should be maxed out at, and we should go down to what, 545? Something like that. Let's have a look and see. Did we manage to get it? Yep, 545. Perfect. So, of course, if we click it again, if we need to get them right now, then it's going to push the cost up even more. But once it reaches 0, that's when they will start coming out for free. So it very much depends on how urgent the situation is and how much you need it. But other than that, so we've got some that are in the influence, some that are not. What else is there to talk about? There's no change to the aesthetics of these buildings when we upgrade them. We've got the Glorious Charge. Let's utilize the Glorious Charge and just show you what it's all about. Let's pick up our upgrades. We've got the Battlefield Salvage right here. Gives them a nice little shield. We'll upgrade our spears. We'll grab our Archer upgrade as well. And perhaps we're getting pushed on by the enemy. What edict would we have? If we're getting pushed on by the enemy, we would have the extra health. I think we've already got it turned on. Yes, we already have that. So you're probably going to have this in a control group, probably like control group 7 or something like that, just so that you can easily change your edict if you need. So if you're on the defense, you're going to want it on the Aura Edict, but then once you go on the offense, you're probably going to want to keep it on the Stockyard Edict, or probably on the production speed, or on the Karash Edict. but we'll just go with the production speed. And then we're going to do the golden charge. So the golden charge, you can see it's got that circle around it. We want to make sure all of our units are within this circle. Beautiful sounds. We'll leave one of them out. So you can see this guy. He didn't get the 1.25 movement speed. But now this group, this has got 30 seconds. Look at the movement speed on the archer. 1.88. That is ludicrous. Have a look at these horsemen. Oh, these are Keshiks. What are these? These are tour guards? Yeah, these are tour guards. The Keshik's doing 2.44 movement speed. So it is crazy just how quick this is going to be. And then on top of that, remember that you've got your Khan. He's got his special debuff arrow, so you can come in here and throw out that debuff arrow. There it goes. And now anybody within that circle is going to get absolutely dumpstered by your units that have got super fast speed. It is a very vicious combo. Hey, we got a fight down here, potentially. Not potentially. You want to know what's cool? A whole bunch of units instantly. Because it's the Zerg, baby. It's the Zerg. Not really. Anyway, what else is there to talk about? Imperial Age. That's something that we could talk about. Let's get into it. The Golden Tent can rapidly produce unique units at a discounted stone cost, and Rus tributes are upgraded with increased armor. So already, they've got pretty good armor. So it does that. And then the Golden Tent will generate 10 gold every 10 seconds. I mean, there's nothing too crazy about that. So we'll just go into this option. So now they've got that barrage. That's the same one the Streltsy use when they get into melee. Have we got our defensive edict on? We probably don't. Let's make sure that we turn our defensive edict on. Let's get some Rus tributes out just to help out. Yeah, they've got pretty good stats, though. If we pick up Elite Army Tactics, you can see 291 health. That's a lot of health. All right, good size army. So, yeah, when it comes to this civilization and the way that it plays, I think it's going to be a very aggressive civilization. There doesn't seem to be a reason to really go for professional scouts. I think the main focus is just going to be on setting up Uvus and making sure that those Uvus don't die. I think that's going to be a big component. I think relics are going to be very important for this civilization just because you are going to want to focus on stone. So probably look to see things like fast castles or at least semi-fast castles that are going to be quite popular. And I think the primary playstyles will be that there will be either two focuses. You'll either have a person who's really focused on getting out tour goods or a person who's really focused on getting upgrades. There could be a type that is a nice mix between them both, though, right? Who says that they're mutually exclusive? So we'll have to wait and see exactly how it unfolds. I think when it comes to civilization affinity, this is probably the one I feel the least affinity with. So I apologize if this video is not as prepared as the other civilization overviews were. But we'll leave it here. Hopefully you've enjoyed it nonetheless. And of course, we'll make sure to catch you in the next one. Thank you for watching.
From the stormy coasts of the north came warriors bound not by blood but by an oath, the Varangians, towering figures from distant lands whose loyalty was bought not with gold but with silver. Emperor Basil II turned to these foreign warriors. They came on ships across the Black Sea, fierce, fearless, and untouched by the politics of the court. This is the Age of Empires 4 Macedonian Dynasty. The heart of the Macedonian dynasty's economy is their unique resource, silver. Varangian arsenals spread their influence to nearby mining camps and town centers, allowing them to process silver over time. When villagers mine gold or stone, they also uncover veins of galena, yielding silver equal to 40% of what they extract. The Varangian arsenal is where the dynasty truly shines. It replaces both the blacksmith and the university, and it is here that the Macedonian dynasty can research unique military technologies, all fueled by silver. Unlike other civilizations, the Macedonian dynasty do not stop at the third tier of upgrades. They can push to 6 full tiers of attack and armor improvements. We're used to seeing upgrades for melee and ranged units. Instead, the Macedonian dynasty's upgrades are divided into 3 categories: melee infantry, ranged, and cavalry, allowing for deeper specialization and late-game dominance. Of course, there is always a trade-off, and the Macedonian dynasties do not have a university, which means that they do indeed lack certain technologies like biology, incendiary arrows, silk bowstrings, and elite army tactics. but they do make up for it with their own unique advancements. Fortifications increases the health of every building by 10% per tier, up to 6 times. Iron fittings boosts the health of siege units by 5% per tier. And then there are special weapon technologies. Ruinous Blinding, which allows the Bogmathor archers to weaken enemy damage by 20%. And then there's Rompfire, where the Varangian guards and Redari wield the legendary curved sword, increasing their attack statistics by 3. The Macedonian dynasty's strongholds not only replace the standard barracks, but also allows the dynasty to make all of the Varangian units. It serves as both production centers and defensive fortresses, with the ability to research arrow-slits for it. But a very unique part of the Macedonian dynasty's war machine lies in the Varangian war camp. As soldiers die in battle, the war camp can call forth free Varangian warriors to replace them. If built near water, even ships can join the reinforcements, galleys and attack ships returning to avenge the fallen. Each Varangian that witnesses the destruction of a landmark or town centre rewards the Empire with a bounty of silver, thanks to the Polutazvav upgrade. The more destruction you cause, the richer that your empire becomes. Every Varangian fight is remembered. With Varangian runestones, you can carve monuments to past victories. When enough enemies fall to your Varangian units, a runestone can be created, inspiring nearby warriors with combat bonuses and strengthening your army through sheer legend. And when war turns to fire, similar to the Byzantines, the Macedonian dynasty can turn to one of the most feared weapons of the medieval world, Greek fire. Their version of the rams, the Chirosiphons, can hurl bursts of liquid flame, engulfing enemies in burning devastation. Similarly to the Byzantines, the Macedonian dynasty's defenses can also be enhanced with mangonel emplacements. The Macedonian dynasty military, at its core, are the Varangian units, a blend of Norse strength and Byzantine discipline. The Athgermatha, it replaces the traditional spearman, a light melee fighter best used against cavalry. It grows stronger surrounded by allies, gaining attack speed with every Varangian nearby. The Bogmathor serves as the archer replacement, a swift-ranged infantryman whose arrows can pierce armor using the unwavering focus ability. However, it is temporary and costs some movement speed. Then comes the early Varangian Guard. Taking the place of the man-at-arms, these heavily armored soldiers can enter a berserking state. This trades some armor for immense damage. They can even enhance the armor of transport ships when garrisoned, making the Macedonian dynasty's transport ships a little bit harder to destroy. Finally, in the Castle Age, the Redari can make an appearance. A heavy cavalry unit that can switch to throwing axes, dealing powerful ranged melee damage for a short time. Strong in close combat, devastating in pursuit, but vulnerable to spearmen and crossbowmen. It is the Macedonian dynasty's equivalent of the knight or lancer. Now, whilst the Macedonian dynasty rely on their Varangian units, they can still retain access to some of the traditional Age of Empires 4 units, including the crossbowmen, hand cannoneers, horsemen, and scouts, keeping the army's roster flexible and full of options. Their siege and navy are also pretty deadly. The Chirosiphons acts as a battering ram armed with Greek fire, just as the Byzantines have access to, while the Dromon replaces the springald ship, turning naval combat into a storm of burning oil and flame. The Macedonian dynasty landmarks reflect their dual heritage of faith, war, and innovation. The Grand Winery serves as both a mill and a monastery. Within its aura, villagers can gather food 30% faster, and relics stored inside produce silver instead of gold. of course steering a little bit away from the traditional Byzantine civilization, because of course there is no olive oil for the Macedonian dynasty. The imperial hippodrome for the Macedonian dynasty acts as a stable, but rather than the Byzantine light cavalry, it can train champions. Each champion inspires surrounding troops, increasing torch damage, boosting cavalry attack, and speeding up infantry movements. The cistern of the first hill strengthens the empire's economy, holding 9 charges that can be used to boost military or resource production, even generating bursts of gold, wood, or food over time. The Golden Horn Tower stands tall, a fortified landmark with crossbow emplacements, free batches of crossbowmen, and the ability to detect stealth and disguise. And in the Imperial Age, the Macedonian dynasties reach new heights of power with 2 choices: the Foreign Engineering Company, which allows the production of powerful siege engines, Nest of Bees, Hui Hui Pao, and Royal Cannons, all purchasable with silver, or the Palatine School, a military academy capable of producing elite cataphracts in large batches, again using silver as the source of might.